What you are about to hear will blow your mind and give you six-pack abs without even exercising.
Pull up a bar stool and relax.
Hey, who wants to have some fun?
You've made it to Happy Hour with John Gaskins.
Oh, no. Not again.
Get ready for entertaining local and regional sports talk that will change your life, or not.
And by the way, when you're telling these little stories, here's a good idea. Have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the listener.
Here's your host, John Gaskins.
Here's Johnny. Hello! Ah!
I'm back, baby! I'm back!
Happy hour, and what a day. Midweek, late June. This is supposed to be the dog days of summer, and holy smokes, do we have headlines to get to. A landmark NCAA legislation that was passed that is great news for some current college athletes, terrible news for some that just graduated, and wipe the sweat off your brow news for Chase Mason. Right now, the most dynamic athlete in South Dakota going. So I'll explain in a moment. Huge, the 5-for-5 rule that is going to be challenged in court. The Sioux Falls Canaries are changing their name. They're changing their name on Friday. Starting Friday. What's it going to be? Didn't they learn their lesson from the Sioux Falls Pheasants? And then we have two guests today to talk about two huge recent developments. In case you didn't see it, you wake up today, our mayoral election, two candidates, over 36,000 votes. And one came ahead by 2 votes. They're going to have to recount, and we won't know for 2 weeks if Christine Erickson or Jamie Smith is going to be the mayor of Sioux Falls. Patrick Lally will break that all down with us at the Orion Pub. And the Minnesota Timberwolves, their big trade to get rid of Julius Randle, have more money for Ayo Dosunmu. But a lot of people think that the Wolves gave up a lot here, that Tim Connolly had a rare flop that could cost the Wolves chances at titles in years to come. We'll see what CJ thinks. He's the University of Sioux Falls coach and Timberwolves diehards that always has a formidable opinion. He'll be at Orion Pub with us as well. But let's start with 5-for-5, the new rule. That is designed to eagerly lessen the chaos of the transfer portal era, this craziness. It's not going to stop athletes from going anywhere they want, not yet. You can go to as many schools as you want for as long as you want. You can have as much movement as you want, and that's the number one thing that a lot of, certainly coaches, a lot of administrators, and plenty of fans, they're tired of. But this doesn't affect the transfer portal yet. But it is a new eligibility model unanimously approved by the Division I cabinet, and it applies at the moment to only Division I athletes. But Chris Johnson will touch upon this at the Orion Pub briefly before we get to Wolves. He believes that this will filter on down to all divisions. But for now, it's a Division I thing. And what is it? It allows 5 seasons of competition over a 5-year period that begins with their full-time enrollment, or specifically, mainly for hockey players after hockey folks protested this and pushed back, or following the 19th birthday, whichever occurs first. Some of those hockey players, they play junior league hockey. They don't get to college until they're 19, a year after most kids and athletes do. So anyway, you get 5 seasons of athletic competition over a 5-year period. It used to be 5-for-4. And the main thing about this is gone are red shirts. You can sit out a year to develop your craft, but then you're only going to get 3 years, not 4 after that. Or wait a second, you will get 4. So I hope I'm not confusing you already, but you get 5 seasons and you don't get a 6th. That's the deal. If you can stay healthy for all 5 and don't redshirt, then you get to play for 5 years. And so let's apply this to the South Dakotans, because there are all kinds of examples of players who are lucking out and missing out on this whole thing. It's not going to be enacted until 2027, starting in the fall of 2027. So Chase Mason lucked out in this 5-for-5 deal because Chase Mason's already gone through 5 seasons of eligibility in college. Yeah, he was hurt for a while and had to take medical hardship. Yes, he redshirted when he was a baseball player at Nebraska. But anyway, Chase Mason went through 5 seasons of athletic competition, whether he was actually playing or not. Of course, he had the transfer to South Dakota State from Nebraska after his very first semester at Nebraska. But if this rule started right now, fall of 2026, the gunslinger whose Jackrabbit national title hopes rests on, all of a sudden, bye-bye, no more Chase Mason. He wouldn't be allowed. He's had 5 seasons in NCAA athletics. You don't apply for medical hardships. You can't redshirt. I mean, you can, but anyway, he'd be done because his college career started in 2021. But fortunately, it's basically grandfathered in. He's grandfathered in. Aidan Bouman, there's an example of a player who just who fit into both 5-for-5 and the old model, 5-for-4. Of course, in the old model, the NCAA gives you a blanket year, and that would be a redshirt year. Aidan Bouman actually had 6 years himself from 2020 to 2026, or the 6 football seasons from 2020 to 2026, but he got a COVID year. And all those COVID seasons, those extra years that athletes got that allowed some athletes to play in their sport for 5 or 6 seasons, which, by the way, there were plenty on that SDSU national title team 2023. Guys like Mason McCormick, they got an extra year of eligibility. So they were a year more mature, a year better, just this rare experience, wealth of experience that Jackrabbits had. Yeah, Mason McCormick would have been a guy that would have been able to play that extra year, but we had that COVID year. And the COVID stuff, that sprang free. All of these guys we've heard about, these ridiculous 6, 7, 8, 9 years of college athletic eligibility. There's a guy at Miami, several different teams, 9 years. He somehow scratched out between the COVID year and medical hardship years and a redshirt year. 9 years, to paraphrase Ed Rudy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. 9. And that whole COVID year, and then, okay, well, now we get COVID years and medical hardship and redshirt, and you can have all those gone. This is why we have this new 5-for-5 approved unanimously and likely to be enacted. So Aidan Bouman had a redshirt year at Iowa State, and then he got to play 2022, 23, 24, 25, 4 years at USD, played sparingly in that redshirt freshman year, and then was basically the man his last 3 years. Okay. But certainly his time is up as well. No grandfathering him in of him because he's a year older than Chase Mason. Brooklyn Meyer, an example of someone who was just maybe born a year too soon for this. Brooklyn Meyer, one of the best Jackrabbit women's basketball players of all time, does not get a 5th year. She was only in college for 4 years. She only played 4 seasons because she didn't redshirt. She never had a medical hardship. And unfortunately, she doesn't get grandfathered in. Her time, her 5-for-4, in which she only needed 4, are up. So she's graduated, and she's going to join, by the way, as she is eligible to play volleyball for SDSU this upcoming fall. We learned that. But she will not get to play more basketball. She's had 4 seasons of that. As far as I know, I could be wrong. I could be just as confused as you. But Brooklyn Meyer and Angie Robles, the USD stud, who spent her first 3 years at Denver, never redshirted, played right away, 3 seasons there, 1 phenomenal year with USD, reviving that program for Carrie Amy. And basically a band of mercenaries and transfers coming to turn the Coyotes around immediately. Angie Robles, from what I take it, does not just get an extra year because of the 5-for-5 passing. Again, I could be wrong, but this is what I translate because she's had 4 seasons and she'll graduate. Now, so Chase Mason in, Brooklyn Meyer, Angie Robles out. But here's the whopper. Here's really a sweet spot. Brooklyn Meyer born a year too soon. Bergen Reilly and Avery Koenen born just at the right time. Avery Koenen, the Summit League Player of the Year, at least officially, as voted on by those who officially vote. Many felt it was Brooklyn Meyer, and Brooklyn got the last laugh, leading the Jacks to the Summit League tournament title, and of course, winning the tournament MVP award in Sioux Falls when it counted the most. But Avery Koenen did redshirt, and she has played 3 years. She already had 1 more year of eligibility under the old model. She's only been around for 3 seasons, and now she gets an extra year. This young lady, as far as I know, Avery Koenen gets another year, and Bergen Reilly, one of the best athletes, period, team sport athletes to ever come out of South Dakota. She's one of the best volleyball players in the history of Nebraska. And as you know, the Huskers are one of the 3 best, winningest, and most national title teams of all time. And of all the decorated players, Bergen Reilly is the first to ever have 3 straight years of conference setter of the year, 3 straight years as an All-American. Each in her first 3 years, she was the national setter of the year last year. And guess what? She gets 2 more years, not 1. We thought this was her last chance to win a national title and make more history individually and as a Husker. Nope. Now Bergen Reilly gets 2026 and 2027 under the new 5-for-5 rule. Incredible. This was all introduced by Craig Bull, the former North Dakota State head football coach, guided them to their first 3 national championships, and now he's a big part of being in the NCAA and FCS boardrooms to help initiate, and in this case, make the changes that can hopefully stem the tide of the ills of what's been getting out of hand eligibility-wise in NCAA sports. So the last thing I can modify here to hopefully enlighten and clarify and not confuse all of you. For athletes coming back in 2026, the school will use the model that gives them the most eligibility. The school will use the model that will give them the most eligibility. So if you're coming into school this fall, no matter what sport you're in, if you got more eligibility under the old 5-for-4 model, then the school will apply that for you. If you get more eligibility like a Bergen Reilly under the new model, all of a sudden, voila, an extra year you didn't think you would get. Well, guess what? The school can use that. So there's liberties these schools can use to make sure current athletes get more, except for if you're the likes of, as far as I take it, Brooklyn Meyer and Angie Robles. They played from 2022 to 2026, and they are done. Another great example that I heard Dom Izzo give on his show today up in Fargo, that Nathan Hayes, the expected North Dakota State quarterback, he redshirted. His 5th year starts now. This is going to be it, though. He does not get an extra year. I hopefully you can understand the difference between him and maybe an athlete like Bergen Reilly, who didn't start their college eligibility until 3 years ago, 2023, not 2022 when Nathan Hayes did. I'm just going to ask Cordell, and I know what his answer is going to be because I think we can move on. Do you get all that? Cordell, does that all make sense? That's the most important thing about the Johnalog today. Did that make sense? Yes. Good. And I'll emphasize one more time, this does not do anything to change the movement that college athletes are able to have right now. You can transfer without sitting out a year as many times as you want. Now, there are people who are most likely trying to change that, and that might be changed in the future. The other thing to know is, of course, there's already been lawsuits filed. There are going to be athletes that are going to try to sue the NCAA over this so they can get another year of eligibility that others get. Those, again, those that would probably fall in the camp of, say, a Brooklyn Meyer or an Angie Robles. Never redshirted, never medical hardship. They think they should get another year, but they won't. So lawsuits are going, but this supposedly will be enacted starting officially now, but really in the 2027 is when the grandfathers for people like Chase Mason stop. I tried to get perspective from Jackrabbit and Coyote, coaches, football and basketball, plus athletic directors. The response on that has been a little slow. So I might have more response on tomorrow's show where we might talk about this a little bit more with Trent Singer. But I did get a response from John Schemmel, the USD athletic director, who's always pretty good at immediate responses. And here's his reaction to the 5 for 5. He likes it because it's a meaningful step in a positive direction that establishes some controls in place and eliminates the waiver processes that have been consuming compliance departments to overwhelming degrees. I'm glad I slipped that in there at the end here, Cordell, because athletic departments get bogged down by compliance processes, just putting together all that paperwork to see if a player missed enough time to get an extra year of eligibility, whether it be through an injury or through a redshirt, whatever. John Schemmel says this is the 5 for 5, far from perfect, but it's something. It is something. And above all, we need to keep taking steps to reestablish some governance and controls. Now, he also says, hopefully, the next steps will include portal limitations. As we mentioned, that wasn't a part of this, but ADs and coaches would like that. You know a coach who would really love that? USD men's coach Eric Peterson, who will be on our show tomorrow and who just suffered most of his roster leaving on him, which most Summit League men's coaches did. North Dakota State won the damn league, regular season and tourney title, and all of their best players that would be eligible next year are gonzo. So it happens to the best. It happens to teams like USD who were in the middle of the pack this year. Eric Peterson's thoughts on the 5 for 5. He just texted this to me. I'm not kidding. This just came in. He thinks overall it provides some structure. The hardest part is, what if a kid gets hurt twice? Josiah Dotzler has been out for 2 seasons with ACL injuries. He just lost those years. Eric Peterson likes that kids are still able to do postgraduate for a year if they want to. It stinks for this year's seniors. They missed the COVID year and they missed the 5 for 5 year. There will be a ton of lawsuits. I'm wondering what that will do and if more people become eligible before the fall. So, everything you just learned for the last 17 minutes, maybe it's for good, maybe it's on hold. But that's the latest news today, and things you should know just in case it will be for good. Meanwhile, speaking of things that I think most people would hope are not for good, because the Sioux Falls Canaries already made this mistake once, and it just turned out to be an incredible bomb when they changed their nickname from the Canaries. Remember the Pheasants in 2010? Sorry. Remember the Pheasants in 2010? Get that word out. I haven't even started drinking today. Gary Weckworth, who joined our show to talk about this last year, was the owner of the Sioux Falls Canaries, and they decided, let's just make a splash. Let's change the nickname. We want to get more people out to the ballpark. They're not going to Canaries games. There are not enough of them. Let's change the nickname. See if we can create a splash, sell some new merchandise. We'll call them the Fighting Pheasants, and it's at least germane to South Dakota, the state bird, the pheasant, right? People hated it. I didn't mind it. I thought it was pretty cool. Gary said he did not regret it when he joined the show last summer, but it was controversial, and it's still a matter of ire, if not scorn, out of the old bird cage and in the community, that the Canaries ever dared change that nickname And the Sioux Falls Canaries minor league baseball clubs started over 100 years ago. Always been the Canaries. Oh, except for that time in the 60s when they had a team called the Sioux Falls Packers. Okay, and then there were 25 or so years from the Packers, who were an actual affiliated ball club for the Cincinnati Reds, to the early 90s. There was no minor league baseball at all, no pro baseball in Sioux Falls. They brought the Canaries back, and it had been the Canaries for almost 20 years until Gary Weckworth changed that. And then after 3 seasons, with pheasants being of little use, with the not drawing any more people to the park, and only being, for the most part, a matter of scorn, he brought the Canaries back. And part of the reason for that, well, hey, let's make that splash. Guess what? You got what you wanted, folks. We're the Canaries again. Woohoo! Let's celebrate that. Let's celebrate our mistake by overturning it. Sometimes that's done in world and American politics, by the way. Maybe I can think of an example going on right now. Anyway, so they became the Canaries again. They've been the Canaries for 13 years, and Gary Weckworth has long sold the team. And in fact, the guys he sold the team to long sold the team 5 years ago to the current owners, who are going on their 6th season. And now they're changing the name. Starting on Friday night, the Sioux Falls Canaries are going to be the Minnehaha Martians. America's transfixation with the paranormal, the extraterrestrial, aliens has grabbed the grip, and the Canaries want to be at the forefront of maximizing and marketing this. So they're the Minnehaha Martians now, and they're going to celebrate this. This just came in a press release I just got this afternoon. They'll kick it off. They're right in the middle of the season. Why wait till the end of the season? Just bang, middle of the season. School's out. Most youth sports are done. More people start showing up at the ballpark anyway. A lot of weddings that would conflict. Most weddings are done. The wedding season's done by late June. So let's capitalize on that, and let's just start the Minnehaha Martians now on the first game of a 6-game homestand that starts on Friday night, and we'll call it Area 51 night. Brilliant. There will be a fireworks show after the game. The Canaries will wear and debut those new jerseys. And to boot, fans can bid on those jerseys in an online auction that has already started now. You can find the barcode, sfcanaries.com. I think we have it up here, right here on the show, if you're watching on SiouxFallsLive.com. So, Minnehaha Martians debuting on Friday night. Special uniforms. The Canaries are no longer colored with yellow and royal blue. It looks like it's a little bit darker of a royal blue, and green. Green will be the Minnehaha Martians' primary color. An ode to the county they reside and the alien phenomenon that is gripping America. I mean, it has my whole life. I was 4 when E.T. came out. But it's really sprung. So here it is, the Minnehaha Martians. I mean, I think it's fun. I think it's cute. But didn't we learn our lesson from the pheasants? Isn't this a little rash? Is the public really going to like this, or are they going to think it's just a stupid gimmick? Wait a second. It's only for Friday night. Shocking, maybe. April Foolish, yes. And also, if you've been paying attention, the Canaries have done this 3 years in a row. And they are certainly taking a page from their brethren right across the road in the Denny Sanford Premier Center, the Sioux Falls Stampede. Both clubs used to be owned by the same owner. Not any longer. But the Herd have had an incredible thing going with Wiener Dog Night and changing the nickname to the Sioux Falls Fighting Wiener Dogs. Once a year for about a decade. I think they've had 11 of those now, and it's always a huge crowd. And the last 2 crowds, they haven't been sellouts, 4,000 plus at the Birdcage, but it's been one of the more popular nights of the season. One of the more well-attended promotions. So they're doing it again, but for one night only. The Canaries are the Minnehaha Martians. Bid on those jerseys that in some cases you literally take off the players' backs and take home with you. The announcements of the bidding war winners will be announced after the game. Go to the game, bid, and then get your jersey if you win it. Domestic beers will be $3.50. There will be a fireworks show after the game, just like every Friday. And then Saturday night, kind of sticking with that theme, it's Pokemon night at the ballpark. The Canaries will not change their name to the Pokemons. They're just going to celebrate Pokemon with $3.50 domestic beers for an hour before first pitch. And then games on Sunday and Monday off to Sunday and Monday. Sunday off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Just find the information at sfcanaries.com. Let's move on.
It's still happy hour with John Gaskins, so go ahead, have another.
Good news! Julius Randle is gone. Oh, thank God. Bad news. Did the Wolves just give him away? Well, kinda. But is it really that bad of news? What the hell's going on here? Is Anthony Edwards happy? Hey, room was cleared for Ayo Dosunmu now. Okay. Is the starting lineup going to be better this upcoming season? Naz Reid probably going to be a starter. All that and more with our resident Timberwolves analyst, Chris Johnson, the head coach of the University of Sioux Falls, on a Wednesday afternoon. It is 4 o'clock at the Orion Pub in downtown Sioux Falls. Like, if we did a live show, this is when we would do it. So happy hour. And there we go. First real customers.
Rolling
on in. What a great time of day it is, guys, right? This is the best time of day when the first drink hits the lips. Of course, for Chris Johnson, it's a Diet Coke. But, Thomas opened up the joint, got great tunes playing. It's an awesome place to come watch your World Cup. In fact, puts it right on the big screen right here above us. So Thursday, even though it's meaningless, Thursday night, it will be a meaningless American game. You want to come, you want to watch, you want to have a few drinks downtown with the cool kids, come on down here. Or go way out west to the official watch party with the Outlaws at the Craven, whatever. But as we were talking before we started rolling, Chris, you and I are, kind of busy. I mean, you've still got recruiting going on, a basketball season. You're a basketball coach. Yep. Apparently, you just got off the phone.
Yeah, can't say much more than that. But I got a great phone call on my way in the door. So you're getting the happiest version of me that you can get.
I was going to say
there's no Julius Randle anymore. And we got a recruit.
Congratulations. Because Chris is early to everything, as a good coach would be. And he's usually sitting in his truck waiting for us to show up
maybe
on his phone. And then he's still on his phone past 4 o'clock. I said, he must be talking to a recruit. But bonus, he was talking to a recruit that is committing to USF. So I'm very happy.
Makes the week better.
It does make the week better. And we 5 for 5 thing came down within the last 24 hours, which I spent the beginning of the show breaking down. We can get your thoughts on that as well. But we're here to talk Wolves. Johnny Ops. Busy not being busy this time.
I was jealous. The picture he sent us of camping wherever he is.
He's out on the lake somewhere. I don't want to give the exact location.
It was better than when I was sitting in my office earlier today.
So he's getting away from work. He's getting away from co-owning the Orion Pub. He's getting away from us, but that's okay. I think you can handle it.
Yeah, we'll
just
try.
On your own. So to keep it simple, we learned of the Julius Randle trade on Monday night. And the Ayo Dosunmu signing came in, I think it was a few hours later. But you've never been a big Julius Randle fan with the Wolves. So let's just start there, and then we can talk about what they got back, didn't get back, and what's next.
Yeah.
But it's go ahead.
Well, I mean, Johnny's not here to say it, so I'll say it for him. It was just not a great fit. A heavy ISO guy next to Ant, who's a heavy ISO guy. One, it's going to be hard to win that way. And two, it's not fun to watch, as you've seen. It's just not a free-flowing deal. No. And I've always said this. He seems like a good guy.
Yes.
Moody. I have friends that are moody, too.
I'm moody.
I might be accused of that at
what?
times.
No.
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't, there's nothing personal there, if that makes sense. Or some guys are just like, I don't like that guy. It just was a bad fit. But what you are hearing now all of a sudden is a little bit more comments about how maybe he was so moody in the locker room that it was really affecting things. And that it was maybe more than, Naz said right after the exit meetings. We just need to be less moody, and everyone right away thought who he was talking about, but it sounds like maybe it was worse. Yeah. Toxic is the word I heard this morning.
Wow.
Now, it came from Kendrick Perkins, who I don't trust a whole lot.
Cordell chuckles.
Other than, I think he's absolutely right on Ant is happy in Minnesota. Everything I've ever read, heard, seen, and then Conley comes out and says, look, we don't do anything without running it by him.
Smart.
And he wants to play with Naz and Jaden. And I feel like reluctantly, Tim Conley's like, okay, even though Tim Conley's a guy that wants to, move around and add stuff and do all that he's kind of giving into a star player a little bit. Like, okay, I'm going to give you this year, and we'll see what happens. That's what it feels like. I don't know if that's accurate.
As in, we'll give you this year to do what you want to do.
Yeah, and then I'm going to start tinkering again.
Yeah.
Not, he's going to then leave. It makes no sense. He's going to be, as long as he plays 65 games next year, Ant's going to be a supermax guy, and you can only get that from your original team. He's not walking away from $150 extra million. Yeah. We don't have money, and we wouldn't walk away from $50,000, would we?
Speak for yourself, buddy.
Well, I mean, I just assume you're a journalist, right? or whatever.
You assumed right.
Yeah. And so
but I am that, and I don't have much money.
I'm a Division II basketball coach, so we all know where that lands. But I just don't think guys walk away from that. So I think we're still 3-4 years away from that conversation. And then there was a really good article. I think Krasinski's great.
Yes.
And in The Athletic, he was basically like, look, Giannis just got traded. The machine needs a new guy to talk about. It's Ant. Get used to it. It's coming, and they're going to talk about him all the time, and he's going to be that guy that everyone focuses on. So just get used to it as a Timberwolves fan. And I thought it was a great article.
Locally, Chris Hine of the Star Tribune, another local guy, he writes an article with the title, "Is All-Star guard Anthony Edwards unhappy in Minnesota? Here's what we know." Now,
clickbait.
I'm in the business of.
You can appreciate that.
You go straight to the words clickbait, and kind of is. He did write it. He did answer it, and I think he wrote it because I think he and his superiors, who may have made him wrote it, know well that is a hot topic.
It's a real question.
We're not going to shy away from it here at the Star Tribune. And so, what headline are you going to give? It's not an unreasonable headline to ask that you're asking a question. You're not reporting that he is. And then the article flows with, here is what we know. And I think Chris is an excellent beat writer, so there's that offered out there as well. But you just cut right to the chase with what you just said. Like,
my bad.
He's fine. No, I'm glad you did. You did my job for me. That's partly my job, to read these articles, cut to the chase.
That's what I love about Ant, though. He's kind of an old school dude when it comes to that. Now, he's got other issues we've glossed over before, but I don't think he's dying to go do it somewhere else. It does feel like he genuinely is like, look, I'm a Timberwolf. It would be really cool to win one here. Yeah. So why don't we do that? I mean, he's really loyal to his guys. Like, those guys have all grown up together, and from what I read, maybe you can have Giannis right now in a Timberwolves jersey if you give up Jaden McDaniels, and I assume based on that reporting that he said no. And what Tim Conley said was, like, Jaden's off limits according to Ant.
Yes. Yeah. And I think you like that, right?
I mean, so you've got to really love each other, care about each other, all the stuff that, the ink-stained wretches of the world, journalists, will say is coach speak and cliche and all but you have to have some of that. Yeah. And if that group really, and there's some pressure there of, you guys want to stay together? You guys got to keep getting better. And you got to win games. And you got to win playoff series. And I think there's something pretty cool about that.
I echo what you just said. I think enough people watch the games that can understand and see when there's real chemistry, when it's helping the team, when there isn't and it's hurting the team. And everything looked pretty disjointed. And the number one reason was Julius Randle. He's not the entire reason, but it was the number one reason. Dante's injury, sure. Yep. Ant's injury, of course. But it was pretty obvious.
Not having a point guard is the other issue.
All the remarks that they said afterward that you were talking about. Yes. But so, of course, chemistry matters and improving chemistry helps. But you also said on the back end what us ink-stained wretches sometimes will say is like, if you got awesome chemistry and you don't have enough talent or you just don't play well enough, then you're not good enough, and that doesn't matter as much as they think it does. What I actually was asking when I was asking you if you liked this, not so much the cohesion part, which I am a believer of, but the Jaden McDaniels component. Like, you had to protect him. He has to stick around with this bunch, which we're trying to see thrust themselves closer to not just an NBA Finals appearance, but how about a championship? And it feels like he's an important ingredient to that.
He's a championship
and not just because
guy.
Ant wants him there.
Yes. I think he's a championship-level player. What I'm not convinced of that he's got to be now is your second option offensively. Like, that scares me to I saw, again, watching Score North, listening to that podcast this morning, and they're talking about, hey, his best 10 games, he averaged 26 and 8 or whatever. His worst 10 games of the year, he averaged 4.5 points on 23% shooting. And you're like, whoa, like that. Your second option can't do that. I mean, you can be frustrated with Julius Randle, but his bad games in the playoffs were 11 points, 13 points. They were never 4.5. And that's what scares me. Can he be your second option on offense? I don't know. Can you do it with... Is he a really good third option, and so is Nas? And now you've got two guys, so it equals a 2 somewhere in there in the aggregate, if that makes sense. I don't know. But that's what scares me.
Well, that could lead to some great questions, because you think about how the Bulls with Jordan weren't winning titles until Pippen came there. And it took 2 or 3 years with Pippen to get them going, but he needed a number 2. He was literally doing most of it by himself. His first few years with Kevin Lockery, and then Stan Albeck, and then Doug Collins, whose famous line about his game plans for offense was give it to Michael and get the hell out of the way. Yep. By the way, they won like 55 games with Doug Collins doing that, but to get past the bad boy Pistons, he needed help. And so a definitive second scoring option clearly was Scottie Pippen, and there you had it 6 titles later. Kobe Bryant and Shaq, Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol. I mean, do you have to have a definitive number 2, or can there be a number 2 by committee? And if you feel like you have to have it with what the Wolves have, assuming that you're not going to just bring in a number 2 scorer now, which you probably aren't. Yeah. You gave it away 2 years in a row with, two of the last 3 years with Cat and Julius. So do you need one, and if you do, who is it that on this team?
I don't know that they have a guy. Where they need to be is kind of what I just said. Like, if you're going to have a low-end 2, then you better have a high-end 3, high-end 4, high-end 5. Yeah. My biggest fear with this team now is they don't have any depth.
Yeah.
Like last year, you could go 7 deep before you got nervous. Right now, I think it's literally 5. It's Io, Jaden, Ant, Nas, Gobert, and then hope. We hope Berger is better.
Yeah.
We hope they're right on him. We hope Terrence Shannon's playoff was who he really was and not just a hot streak. Yeah. You hope Dante DiVincenzo heals like Jason Tatum and his back, in good time.
Plan on that. April at best, probably.
Yeah, but like literally then there's 5 open spots on their roster after that. Yeah. And some of those guys, they got to use that mid-level exception up to $15 million, and that has to be a very good player. Yeah. Not a star, but someone who really affects your ability to win. And if you can do that, then maybe you're better because you have Io back and that player, and that's better than having just Julius.
But by now, as you've been listening, you probably understand that we're not here to get into the nuts and bolts of the exact parameters of this 3-way trade with the Nets and the Bulls that they went through on Monday night to get us to the first round of the draft last night, where the Wolves weren't drafting, but they technically were because they picked Joshua Jefferson for the Nets, who they traded the 28th pick to. That's stupid. He put on a Wolves hat, whatever. Yeah. And then all the first apron and stuff, like guys like Score North, and they do that.
They can do that.
Go ahead. Listen to them. I don't read it. Like, that's just so boring and beyond me. We generally know what's possible here. And so so I'm going to get to Io DeSumo and Rudy Gobert, 2 guys, one who got a big pay raise, part of this salary dump, which a lot of people consider this Randle trade was. Initially, sure, a salary dump, but part of what it allowed for was to pay Io DeSumo more money. 5 years, $112 million. With Dante being out anyway, it automatically makes him a starter. I think you could agree he's not a true point guard, but he's more of one than Ant is.
More of one than Dante is.
So he'll be the primary guy bringing the ball up the floor.
As of today.
So what do you make of him cracking the lineup, him being in that role? And I know you don't love how much they had to pay him.
Well, I think I didn't initially. I was a little sticker shock. But then I started looking at some of the guys that make more than him, and I'm like, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Christian Brown makes more than him. Like, John Collins made more than him. Like, there's just a lot of guys where you're like, okay, well, I'll put it this way. Would you rather have him for $20 million a year or Austin Reeves for $46 million a year?
Number one, please.
Yeah. And
Go
so
number one.
I'm really happy. I think he's a good player. I think he's a really good shooter that helps. Unlimited, he's not a volume guy. He's a good defender. He's not a great defender by any stretch, but he's a good defender. I think those guys really liked him. I think that matters.
Yeah.
I think he's another 6'5", big, strong guy. And if you're going to play Stephon Castle and Keldon Johnson and, all those other guys that are – Dylan Harper, who's going to be a starter here the next time the Spurs play.
Yes.
You're going to have big athletic bodies on the wings or at the guard spots, and I think he helps that for sure.
Sure.
I think it was a great signing.
Hey, we've seen his ceiling, a 43-point game in the playoffs. That was nothing to sneeze at. Was that against the Spurs or the Nuggets? I think it was
Nuggets.
the Spurs. It was the Nuggets. Yeah. Okay. And that he had two great games, and then he kind of went back to his his norm. But when he is high volume, he does show
a good player
potential. And the guy, and he was part of that trade from the Bulls.
I think
right
where
before the
people
trade
are
deadline.
probably getting frustrated or worried as they look at Nickeil Alexander-Walker made 15. It was a different world.
Yeah.
Nickeil would get more than 20 a year right now. And Nikhil's a better defender than Ayo. Not nearly as big and physical, though. And so I would say this might even be a better fit, even though everyone loved Na, right? Minnesota fans, what we can do better than anybody is find a couple guys, Naz Reid being one of them, and Na was the other one, that we will just attach onto, and it doesn't matter. You could trade that guy for Giannis, and they would be up in arms.
I know. Well, they're going to have to take some billboards down if that ever happened to Nas.
Yes. And beach towels be damned.
Yeah,
right?
and to clarify, Na was costing $15 million a year. Ayo's going to cost $22.5 a year, and that was your initial reaction. You texted Johnny and I on Monday night, and I know you've already kind of walked that back a little.
Yep.
My initial, I didn't respond that night, but I mentioned this yesterday in talking about this with Matt Zimmer on Nobody's Listening Anyway. That is a bit, I don't know if revisionist history is the right word to use. Who were we to know a year ago Julius Randle would be this bad and detrimental in the playoffs? He didn't even have that bad of a year.
Not at all.
He just really bombed in the playoffs to the point where they basically paid to send him packing in general.
Yeah,
we didn't know and predict that. And so you just kind of...
And you hate this part, but I'm going to say it. He could have opted in to one more year at way more than that extension was. Randle, last year.
Okay.
The deal was we're not going to re-sign Na,
and
then we're going to re-sign you to 2 years at 66 instead of 1 year at 40.
Yeah.
And they needed that extra wiggle room to sign Nas and Jaden and all. Yeah, I mean, revisionist history. What I like about Conley is, look, Dillingham didn't work. Send him packing. We need Ayo. Yeah. And we don't have Na. Well, we got to replace that position. We went out and got a guy. Now, I think he'll eventually do that with Julius Randle. I just don't think it's going to be immediate.
Okay. And then there's the situation of Rudy Gobert, where there certainly was, it appeared, an option there that how do you ever gauge when a guy is about to not just erode or slip, but like fall off a cliff? And of course, with Rudy, the MO is defense and rim protector, and he's elite at it, and he's in phenomenal shape. And you've defended him a zillion times over the last two playoff runs. If you only go by the goofiness sometimes with missing close shots or losing the ball, then you're not watching close enough to how important he is. But how long can he keep that level up? As far as we know, it really doesn't. We can talk about that. Yeah. It really doesn't matter. There's no way he's going anywhere because that's the insider folks like Doogie Wolfson, Score North and Twin Cities TV, talks to league executives and scouts, and they tell him Rudy's untouchable. But
would you trade him straight up for Derek White from the Celtics right now, and then figure out the center's position later?
Well, I'm the wrong person to ask. You'd be the one to ask.
I don't
that
know
would help.
the answer.
That would help solve the point guard position, and you could argue that that's a more That's a more important position, but then who's protecting the rim?
What to kind of get to your thing, I totally agree with you. I don't know what – I think they're going to end up keeping him too long.
Yeah.
And I get why.
Yeah.
Because if they got rid of him – Nas is a terrible defender. He is not a good defender.
Yeah.
You have to have a really good defender next to him. And Bergen might be that eventually. I think he will be. But he is nowhere near ready for that. And who better to mentor him than a guy from his home country who's done it 4 times at the elitist level.
Very true.
Elitist level. You know what I meant. Yes. At an elite level. So I'm thinking they're going to keep him. But if they do want to shake it up anymore, he's the chip. Because people will take him. Charlotte would take him in 2 seconds. Yeah. But I just don't know who else you could even trade for or trade without, because you've made your bed. You're not trading those young guys. And I'll let you know a little secret.
He's 33, by the way. I was just looking this up. He's 33, and he has been in the league. He's been playing pro ball since 2011, so 15 years.
That's
so
a
since
lot
he was
of wear and
18 years
tear
old.
on a big body, and I still think he is playing at a really high level.
And I think I don't know his exact injury history. You'd know be better. It doesn't seem like he's hurt a lot. If you look at the guy and you
phenomenal
know
what he does.
He keeps himself in shape to where he's in better shape with less possibility of getting hurt than, say, a Luka Doncic, who is much younger and doesn't work out nearly as feverishly or treat his body as well. So maybe he's a young 33, but he's 33, and he's played a lot.
And he's got, 2 years left, I think, on his contract?
And he plays balls to the wall. I mean, he's not one of these guys that really takes a lot of plays off, right? I mean, he plays hard all the time, which that provides a little bit more wear. So,
I mean, he's going at some point. It's just a matter of, is he going to just walk away for nothing in 2 years when his contract is up? Or are they going to do something this year, or maybe even more likely when he has 1 year left?
Yeah.
Where whoever takes him, if he falls off the cliff, then it's a 1 year and you're done. You don't have to worry. Like they always say, GMs always say, there's no bad 1 year contract.
Well,
because it's over so fast.
No kidding. And so I always have loved the line about the NFL. It stands for not for long.
Yeah.
I mean, the NBA is getting that way. And I think partly is because the aprons, which, correct me if I'm wrong, generally they're designed a little bit to prevent what the NFL does, trying to prevent dynasties. I mean, we've had, I don't know when the apron stuff started, but we've had 8 different champions the last 8 years. And so it's kind of just like it's just thrust into the next year, figure it out after that. It feels like, certainly for coaches like Kevin O'Connell with the Vikings going into his 5th year, yet to win a playoff game.
But don't you think he's a good coach?
Of course he's a good coach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But like he has one bad year, he might get fired because he hasn't won a playoff game
doubt.
yet. So how does he think and operate? It might be different from, say, his new GM, who has a more long-term, long-game view of the franchise. Yep. I don't know what Tim Conley's lean on that is one way or the other, but I'm pretty sure, I mean, Chris Finch wants to win now. Anthony Edwards wants to win now. And the the Rudy Gobert piece of, like, I think everybody is thinking, like, we're kind of gambling that he's got one more good year in him.
Yeah.
And if your thinking is not just let's get to the finals for the first time, let's get to the NBA finals. Maybe let's have a good enough team to win the whole thing. I mean, you put the best team possible out there to win the whole thing. That's where you ask. That's where it appears that they're doing this for a year. They're just trying to do the best they can for next year.
Yeah.
Because if you're thinking long game, Rudy Gobert's an example of someone maybe you'd
Bill
lay off
Belichick
of.
wouldn't have Rudy on his roster at this point, right? When they were rolling, they were
great.
They get rid of you a year too soon.
Yes, at least a year.
Where I pushed back was, yes, Ant wants to win right now.
Yes.
And I'm sure they've done this with him. He's won more than about anybody in their first 7 years.
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan wasn't winning at that level. Jordan's way better. Before anybody wants to text or hit me up or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of guys, like LaMelo Ball hasn't won a playoff series yet. He was the second pick in that draft, or third pick. Wiseman was the second pick. He's not even in the league anymore.
Yeah. So you're talking about the winning percentage compared to the guys in his draft class.
Like
in his draft
he's
class.
won way more than any of those guys.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you want it. You want to be farther along, but like Jokic wasn't winning he didn't win a title when he was 24. Yeah. And that's what Ant is.
Yeah.
Patience, young Skywalker, but easy for me to say. I'm the old guy.
Well, it's and then again when you look at ownership, I haven't heard or read too much from Alex Rodriguez and his cohort, the money man, I forget his name.
Lori.
Thank you. But those guys, are they as concerned about winning championships as they are about just selling tickets and making money? I don't know. They have plenty of money. They're clearly and they're willing to do whatever it takes within the league structure to pay what they need to pay everybody. But my point on that one is maybe the Wolves aren't going to win an NBA title, but they could be really good, like the Minnesota Vikings most of your life, without winning a title. But that's a lot better than most of the first 30 years of their history, where they were just terrible and irrelevant.
But yes, I know. Because between the Wolves and the Wild, one of them is going to do it here in the next 3 or 4 years. I believe that.
Okay.
I don't think it might be the Wolves. So that's the thing.
But with Ant, DeSumo, McDaniel, Nas, and Gobert as your starting five, and as you mentioned, not a lot of depth after that. No matter what happens in the second round of the draft tonight, or any way else they might fill out the roster between now and when the season tips off. Like, how strong is that? Or is it too soon to determine how strong that is when you're weighing yourself against the Spurs, the Thunder?
The Thunder are getting rid of guys to save tax money right now.
Yeah.
They did it with Wiggins. Word on the street is Isaiah Joe is available, possibly Case and Wallace. So, I mean, it hits everybody, those apron things.
Yeah.
I think you have to add Jalen Clark, Terrence Shannon Jr., and Bergen into that. So you get to 8.
Okay.
You still have the mid-level exception, and you have, I think it's like $30 million in cap space, and a draft pick or two. Like, there's some, they're not going to be, we don't have anybody after the starters. It's just going to all be new. It's not going to be guys you're used to them running out there for as much as they're going to. Like, Mike Conley's going to re-sign for the minimum. Bones Highland's going to re-sign for the minimum. And then they'll work on those other 3 or 4 roster
we're going to get
spots.
Bones again? Okay.
I think so.
All right, cool. And Shannon's back. I mean, he showed flashes.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, your guys have to – I do agree with Conley on this. Like, you have to give him opportunity. And people say, well, why can't Finch just – it's not that simple. Sometimes there is some gridlock stuff where there's guys –
You're going to side with the coach, and I understand.
But
it's okay.
I wish he would have benched Julius Randle, but I totally get why he didn't.
Yeah.
That's chaos in that locker room if you do that.
Yeah.
And so now you just take – you guys have all seen Moneyball, right? One of my favorite movies.
Yes.
You can't start Pena at first because we just traded him, man.
Yeah.
When he walks in there, Pena's going to play first. No, he's not, because I just traded him to the Tigers 5 minutes ago. And so basically, Conley's like, you're not going to run Julius out there because you can't, because I'm going to get rid of him.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
I've just enjoyed, I'm sure you have as well, and I say enjoy with a twinkle in my eye and a wink, the national narrative of basically like stick a fork in the Wolves, what a bunch of idiots. They get rid of Cat, then he wins a title. Now you get rid of Randle. It's like, I will give some outlets credit. Like I occasionally watch PTI. I still love Tony and Michael. And the nature of their show, they have 22 minutes. They do hit like 15 topics. So they're going to skim. But at least their producers threw in, Julius Randle averaged 13 points and shot dog meat from the field and in the playoffs, and so they get like why you
Tim
would
Conley
trade him.
doesn't make $6 million a year to make them worse.
Yeah.
I trust that he knows what, and they're not done, right?
And Cat with the Knicks, I think we talked about this last time. That is total hindsight, 2020
Again,
revisionist
he averaged
history.
13 points a game in the finals.
Was Ant? Good point. He had 2 great games, and then he was whether they didn't get the ball to him enough or not. They still won, and they won the whole thing.
And he
without
played
him. well.
Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't.
He was obsolete.
Yeah.
He was not a part. He was not a factor in the fourth quarter of most of those games. And remind me, I'm just asking this for cleanup's sake. That was Ant pissed about Cat getting traded?
Well, I mean, I didn't think so at the time, and now I've read some things where people are trying to say that. And you know who's pushing this narrative more? It's Brian Windhorst, and it drives me batty.
Okay.
Because it's so obvious that we got to get on to the next subject. And I think he's probably a decent guy, and I listen to him when he's on, but he seems to be just absolutely the one behind. He's mad. He was mad when Cat got traded. Now he's mad, and he's frustrated about Julius, and then everyone comes on like, no, he actually didn't want Julius on the team anymore, I don't think. He won't say that publicly either. But.
Right. Well, good point. He's gonna say that.
Yeah.
Have we not covered anything? Is there anything we've missed here, or have we about covered it?
Who should they take tonight?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it is the draft. That's partly why we're talking about all this, and all these deals are getting done.
I think there's 2 or 3 guys you see. Isaiah Evans from Duke. He scares me. He's really skinny. I mean, he can shoot it, but he's really skinny. Okay. The center from North Carolina, the Vasar kid, do you start getting ready with – now you already have Rocco and Berenger and Gobert, but can never have too many bigs.
Yes.
I don't know. The kid at BYU that blew his knee out is Richie Saunders. Would be a great pick there, but he's kind of like Jalen Clark. You wouldn't see him for another year. Yeah. I think those are kind of the main 4. You'll know, like if they're trying to actually, they believe these guys can help them, it'll be one of those guys you've heard of.
Yeah.
If it's some guy from, Montenegro, Lithuania, Monaco, and you've never heard of him before.
Hamburger helper state.
They're like, hey,
yeah.
we don't want to spend any money on you towards the cap, so we're just gonna. Or like last year, they had the first pick in the second round, and they traded it 2 or 3 times. So you'll know right away. I would assume they'll try to add somebody though.
Okay. The NBA draft, to me, it seems like it matters less. It feels like it matters less than the NFL draft, but yeah. Oh, Cordell says he watched it.
That's a tough one for an old guy like me, not you, Cordell.
The
I would
clothes.
never call you
Cordell
old.
said he did watch a lot of it, but he was mostly locked in on the fashion. So, okay.
I will tell you that
the commentators were?
I am a huge fan of drafts.
Yeah.
I watch all of them because they're fascinating to me.
I'm not talking about the television product or even the fascination.
Oh, no, nobody cares about the NBA draft. You're right. What you said was absolutely accurate.
Well,
nobody.
And not just.
Do you know who watches the NBA draft?
Nobody cares how consequential. It is consequential with lottery picks, but it's kind of like how many of these people that we saw walk up there last night are going to contribute and matter at all?
6
in the short. Thank you.
And 5 or 6 teams and their fans will watch, and then nerds like me that will watch because they're college basketball people. My God, I guarantee you, I don't have a player last night that watched that.
Yeah.
It might tell you something right there, but I bet you if I asked them and you gave them truth serum, they'd be like, no, I didn't watch that. I'll just look up on ESPN an hour after it's over and see who got drafted where. They don't care.
But as far as like a team like the Wolves, who were one of the best teams in the league, who had one of the last picks in the first round, one of the first picks in the second round, it just kind of seemed like
I didn't watch it.
Will these guys play or contribute? I mean, maybe on a team that has a little bit of a lack of depth, but
Jaden McDaniels picked 29 back in the day.
How long ago?
5-6 years ago or
Okay.
whatever. But I'm just saying, like, you do find guys sometimes down there, but not very often.
Yeah.
No, not very often.
Well, and so many teams are obviously just like the NFL. So many teams are building through free agency and trades anyway to make them instantly better. This was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, for like basically soundbite in the future's sake, I would, since you're here.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on the 5-for-5 rule? Now, now this is supposedly only Division I. You told me earlier today that it'll probably filter to D2.
I think it will.
For those consuming the whole show at SiouxFallsLive.com or on wherever you're getting your podcasts, the first 17 minutes of the show is devoted to explaining what it is and who it affects. But in general, you got 5-for-4 before now, right? You get basically 5 years for 4 years worth of eligibility. If you can redshirt a year and play 4, you can get medical hardship. But after COVID and the COVID year, we got people playing 6, 7, 8, 9 years, and this just cuts out medical hardships. And you can redshirt, and you still can play 4 years if you want, and you can transfer as much as you want still at the moment. But now again. Your thoughts?
Well, I think there'll be unintended consequences like there always is. I don't know what they are though. I'm not smart enough. I'm just a basketball coach. I think this. Anytime the NCAA tries to implement anything right now, there is a line of lawyers ready to, because what it says right now is that rule doesn't start till this fall.
Yes.
So if you just graduated, tough. You don't get a 5th year.
Yes.
And then if you look at X or anything online, it's all these lawyers like, we're going to sue because the guy who just graduated just lost millions of dollars in NIL money at Duke or North Carolina or wherever, and that's unfair. And they might be right, but where do you start it then?
Right.
I think it's going to be 5 years is a long time, like to be at one place. In today's world, like obviously we have it. We have guys that that redshirt and say, we have guys. Kyle Ingerson will be a senior for us this year. He redshirted and played 4, so even if he would have played that first year, 5 years, but it's just, I don't know, man. It's going to have unintended consequences for lower levels.
Yeah.
The Summit League, the Northern Sun, that's just one more time you can try to move up the ladder. And I'm not saying that's wrong.
But basically, what we're allowing is kids to play for 5 years.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't. If you want to play for 5 years, I think there's also a faction of people that will, in certain sports, graduate in 4 and won't even use a fifth year.
Moving on with life.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what those lawsuits look like and what they produce before I get too worked up about this is good or this is bad, because I don't believe anything right now lasts more than about a month before we have to make an addendum to it, or we have to change something. We have to do this. We have to do that. Because, when's the last time the NCAA won in a court battle? I'll wait.
Been a while.
You have to look. If you looked it up, we'd still be here.
Yeah, even Sorsby won.
How?
Yeah,
right? Like,
right.
everyone knew that was wrong on some level,
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not talking to you. Then you say that, and then you go, what about the hypocrisy of DraftKings? And all that? I get all that.
Yeah.
But you can't be a player and do that.
Right. That's a whole other thing.
A really long-winded answer is I'm not sure how I feel about it yet.
But you do predict that it's going to happen for Division II.
I do.
You'll be in a situation.
But I don't know anything. Let me be clear on that.
But you might. But okay. But if it does happen, you can put yourself in the shoes of a guy like Brian Peterson or Eric Peterson.
Yeah.
You get. The concept, the dangling carrot concept is, oh, good, I can have a great player for 5 years. In today's age, if you're in the Summit League, you get and a player has a good year. Most of them are gone after 1 year.
What I worry about unintended consequences is how many alums do we have when it's all said and done?
Well, yeah.
How many guys actually graduate from your place then that started with you?
Yeah.
We all know that number is not nearly as high as it used to be.
Right.
And that's
at
fine.
Division II schools, I guess a lot of guys transfer out.
They
Division
do
II
and
now.
they don't. And every situation's different. But I think about SDSU. They're constantly having turning over a roster.
Yeah.
He doesn't need me to say this. We're okay friends. We know each other, but PD at SDSU is a former JUCO coach. PD at USD is a former JUCO coach. That's probably helping them right now.
Of course.
They have been through those kind of revolving door kind of situations with your roster.
They both told me that.
And I'm trying to learn it on the fly. I've never been at that level, and so I just
have
think
Justin Heckenleibel, who was.
Yeah, that's true. He was over in Worthington for a long time.
Yeah.
But I think that there's going to I think they're trying to reduce the chaos.
Yeah.
And I think we'll eventually get there, but initially I'm not sure that's what's going to be
Initially,
the
we're getting
result.
more chaos.
Yeah.
By the way, PD, additions to what he said earlier today, I'll read the whole thing just for your sake. He told me that he thinks the 5-for-5 provides some overall structure. The hardest part is a kid that gets hurt twice, like Josiah Dotzler has been out 2 seasons with ACLs at USD. He just loses those years. I like that kids are still able to do post-grad for a year if they want to. It stinks for this year's seniors. They missed the COVID year and they missed the 5-for-5 year. There will be a ton of lawsuits, wondering what that'll do and if more people will become eligible before the fall. I think it affects hockey the most. It actually doesn't. Hockey.
Well, they had the addendum, right?
Hockey had the addendum to where it can start either with your eligibility or at age 19. And a lot of those hockey players don't start college until they're 19.
Yep.
Anyway, it will also have an effect on high school kids. More transfers, more portal movement, less scholarships being offered to them. Our level, Division I low major, we will get better high school kids because it'll trickle down. Go back to Josiah Dotzler. He said that's an example. Another one would be Cade Kelderman from Iowa State. We could keep him for 2 years, and he could finish his master's and not get part of it done here. Some things that Eric Peterson will tell us when we talk to him tomorrow, but just thought I'd toss that in there.
Yeah,
there's a lot of flying, a lot of moving parts.
I'll leave you with the joke in South Dakota, Minnesota, wherever, Midwest, us Midwestern people. If you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes, it'll change.
Yeah.
If you don't like the NCAA rule, wait 5 days, something else will come up.
You know what? That is a great way to land the plane. Thank you, CJ.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Don't get too good at this. You could. My boss is right here. You can replace me. For Cordell Wright and CJ, the fine folks at Orion Pub. By the way, my boss is coming up here. I got a mayoral election, 36,000 votes, separated by two.
Yeah, that's
Holy
crazy.
smokes. Cheers.
It's still happy hour with John Gaskins. This round's on me.
I thought it wasn't for real. Those were the words of just one Sioux Falls citizen and his reaction when he woke up today and found out that 2 votes separated the 2 mayoral candidates in the runoff. Christine Erickson edging Jamie Smith by 2 votes out of over 36,000, which of course means there is a recount, and it's going to be a matter of weeks before we find out who the next mayor of Sioux Falls will be. That one citizen, by the way, was Chris Johnson, the University of Sioux Falls basketball coach who's lived here for almost 20 years. And I thought the same thing.
There was an internet fake?
Yeah, I mean, because there's so much of that anyway.
Right.
But nope, it really is for real. 2 damn votes. One of the many overused words in our vernacular as a society is unbelievable or amazing, but this really is like, you'd never think an election with that many votes, even though it was a really low turnout. 36,000.
Wasn't a really low turnout.
Well, we can talk about that as well. 36,000 plus, 2 votes decided it, and the recount might, who knows what it will find. But that is why we have Patrick Lally here today at the Orion Pub in downtown Sioux Falls, SiouxFallsLive.com. You should be watching our show there anyway. But if you go to the homepage right now as of 4 p.m. today, it is full of election coverage that nobody else in town can provide as comprehensively. You went to work today and interviewed Jamie Smith. An article and a video you can see at SiouxFallsLive.com. You are the editor. You're a 30-plus year citywide reporter, columnist, newspaper editor, political junkie. So there's no place I'd rather be than right here, right now.
Right here, right now.
Literal happy hour just before 5 p.m.
Yeah.
The day after the election.
And it's been quite a day. I did get to talk to Jamie. I endeavored to speak with Christine, but they did not do one-on-one interviews today. It's kind of understandable. But she didn't do any. Issued a statement saying, "Thank you, everybody. We're just going to wait. And thank you, Jamie. You did a great job. You're a good person." But I did then go ahead and publish my interview with Jamie. Not a long interview, 10 minutes. And just talked about where his head is. It's a crazy situation. It really is. And, I asked him, because he was down 9 points in the first round and closed it to, 2 votes in the second. That's a big gap.
Yeah.
A lot happens in 3 weeks, but, he really attributes it to the ground game. They really, because there was no way they were going to raise as much money as Christine. She ended up with twice as much money as they did. And so they relied really on the shoe leather, pounding on doors, leaflets. And so that's what they attribute it to. And there's some truth to that. That it's kind of an old saw about elections are won on the ground. But when you're talking about a Sioux Falls election, it's true. It makes a difference. Sarah Pankinen, who I talked to last night, she was a complete unknown in terms of politics in this community. She's a civil engineer, she's like an expert in sewers, but did work for the city for a time. But she beat Mike Crane in a runoff. Mike Crane's a guy who's a known quantity. He's been around forever, but part of it is he hasn't been doing anything for a long time. But that's how she won.
Yeah.
She didn't spend a lot of money. She just every day from 6:30 to 8:30, and on the weekends she went door to door.
Yeah.
And she won easily. And that still matters, and that's what Jamie attributes it to as well. That's how they made up that gap.
And, of course, look, Patrick is referring to the fact that not only, well, a mayor was supposed to be determined last night, but wasn't. But 3 city council seats were as well. That was the entire election. That's what over 36,000 people in a city of over 230,000 went to.
150,000 registered voters.
And 150,000 registered voters went to vote on last night, and well, all day yesterday and days leading up to it. And so while we're at it, Zach Akoué, is that how you say it?
Akoué, yeah.
Akoué, a registered nurse, a refugee from Sudan, who's lived in Sioux Falls most of his life.
I'm pretty sure it's Sudan.
I mean, what?
It's East Africa.
I mean, what a story there.
It's crazy.
He is literally now a shining and influential representative of a part of this city.
Yep.
And of this city's growth, evolution, and change over the course of the last few decades.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fraction of what this city is and has become, and he's an example of coming out of it. Like,
what's a city?
I mean, this city raised him.
Yes.
And it raised him to be a nurse, and now it's raised him to be a civic leader. That's going to help make major decisions about this city.
Yep.
I think
nobody meets Zach Akoué and doesn't like him.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Cordell
there you
Wright
go. There
says
it
he
is.
voted for Zach because Zach came to his door.
And again, shoe leather. Not that Zach DeBoer didn't put in the shoe leather. It's just, it still works. And, I think you were touching on it there. I've written a column now twice and torn it up, and I got to finish it later, about sort of what the election means.
Yeah.
And it does represent what the city is, right? Who the city is. It's not South Dakota, and I say this over and over again, but this isn't like other places in the state just because who lives here.
We have diversity.
And when you say diversity, and people immediately think it's racial, right? But that's not it entirely. Like, yeah, it's more racially diverse than the rest of the state and ethnically diverse, but it's everything diverse. Like, there's just all kinds of people here. And when you start to play pigeonhole politics, it just doesn't work. And I think, and Christine knew that. And the people who tried to play pigeonhole politics here probably did not help her. I would venture that they almost, if she doesn't win, that they lost the election for her.
And you're talking, of course, about
Toby
both.
Doden.
Toby Doden.
Toby Doden did it first.
Did
I'm
Larry
talking
Roden
about
endorse
Toby
her?
Doden. Yeah, but it was later.
Yeah, Toby Doden. This is only my second alcoholic beverage of the day. Was the one who, most loudly
and disparaged,
and proudly.
Not just I'm for Christine, which that would have been fine, but I'm for Christine. Everybody that went over and supported Jamie isn't really a Republican. They're slimy politicians. And by the way, Jamie Smith is going to turn Sioux Falls into Chicago and L.A. or whatever it was. It's just that didn't help Christine. I mean, he can say all that stuff. That's fine. It doesn't matter. It's politics. But that did not help Christine. And if she loses, I'm sure she would have preferred that did not happen.
Yeah, that was the major kind of kicking point from last week as we did our pregame election show. And the postgame aftermath, you just gave it. And, I mean, also, Toby took a big steaming you-know-what on the two candidates, one Republican, Greg Jameson, one independent, Joe Batchelor, who supported Jamie in hopes that would, again, help Christine. But clearly their support helped Jamie. You would think that in the after that gap between from 9% to 0.000000001 is partly helped. You would think by the Jameson
and Batchelor endorsements.
And Batchelor endorsements.
Jamie says it did. Jamie says it mattered. That's that.
I can't.
It's hard to say.
I can't imagine how it would.
The other thing that is in play here is that the first round was during a Republican primary and the second round wasn't. So you didn't have people going to the polls to vote only for Republicans and then also for mayor.
Yeah.
You went to the polls this time to vote for in some cases 2 or 3 races, but depending on where you live, it was just city people. There was no state people. It's nonpartisan, all that. And that's, to me, this election is much more reflective of the community, right? And whether Christine or Jamie wins is neither here nor there in terms of that statement. They appeal to their constituencies, and it's a very interesting. I wish we had some sort of data set that would tell us people's ultimate motivation, but we don't. We only can guess.
We can. In general, I want to talk about the turnout because that's one of the big takeaways that most people had. And by people, I mean lay people who you see on social media, your friends and neighbors who post on Facebook, some whose opinions you trust and give credibility to, some that you don't. But yeah, the takeaway was,
I thought the turnout was pretty good.
okay, let's get to that. First of all, what was the turnout compared to the election 3 weeks ago that coincided with the Republican primary? When it just comes to the votes that determined mayor and the council seats.
There were 38,000 votes the first time. There are 36,000 the second.
Okay, just for mayor.
Just for mayor.
Okay, so 2,000 less for whatever.
All
that
the
is.
other races are lower. There's undercounts. So there are many people who go in and vote just for mayor and don't vote for anything else.
Sure. Okay. Thank you for that explanation. Yeah. But
and also you'll see percentages posted in places, and people are very confused about this.
Yeah.
Because of the way they are presented by the city. Because the vote percentages that the city has on their website are the percentage of the votes of the total votes cast. So if there's an undervote of 500. The city's number reflects the percentage of the bigger number, when in fact you have to take the total that just voted for either of the candidates in the runoff and then divide.
My brain hurts. I'm just going to sit. I'm just going to sit and watch these suds rise to the top of my beer in this mug.
There are. If you look on the city's website, there are percentages with 2 candidates are both in the 40s.
Okay.
And neither gets 50, and you're like, oh, how can that be?
Okay, I'll try to take us back to planet Earth. Thank you.
It's
I'm going to go back and listen to this, and it'll make a lot more sense because I wasn't even trying right then and there. But there's a pervasive thought of how disappointing, how pathetic, what a representation of American society that just over 1/5 of the registered voters.
One over a quarter.
Okay.
It's 26%.
26%. Okay, still that seems low.
I know these numbers are getting tough on you.
Most people don't understand that.
Why does it seem low?
First of all, it's amazing that there are 80,000 plus people in this city who aren't even registered voters at all.
Well, there could be kids.
Thank you. That's why you're here. But why do you consider 26% a pretty good turnout?
I don't consider it a great turnout, but I don't know that it matters.
You don't think it's as crappy of a turnout
as
a lot of people think it was?
I don't think it's the end of the world. If people don't want to vote in a mayoral election, I don't want them to vote.
Yeah. Because
if they aren't paying attention, I don't want them to vote anyway.
Because I don't know about you, and I don't know about you, Cordell, but I saw from some of my friends who are very intelligent people who clearly do vote and do care about the city and about politics, who were just like giving a big thumbs down to everybody who didn't vote. Like, if you ever thought your vote doesn't matter, here you go. And that's mostly true. Clearly, it was separated by 2 votes. I'm guessing a lot of people who didn't vote would have voted for Jamie. A lot of people who didn't vote would have voted for Christine. That's hard to gauge, too. But why, in your mind, was this not a quote-unquote low turnout?
It's been going down for a while. So this is not an outlier by any means. The fact that it was fairly close to the first round, to me, is, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
And again, the electorate, the number of registered voters has, at the beginning of the year, it was 137,000. Now it's 150,000.
Wow.
So in 2002, when we had when Munson ran and against Dick Brown for an open mayor seat, there were only 67,000 registered voters. 2002 to today. 25
Twice.
years. Now, that's
Twice
a long
as many.
time.
Yeah.
There's more than twice as many voters here than there were then. A lot of those people moved here from other places. Their civic connection is not as strong. So it doesn't bother me that much. Sure, I would love it if everybody read everything we wrote and paid attention to city government and instead of just bitching all the time about stuff that they don't know anything about.
Why'd you look at me like that?
No, not. I don't mean it about you.
I know.
I mean about people who.
I'm kidding.
I mean, there's an inordinate influence on our public, our perceptions based on what we read on social media. For the love of God,
Thank you.
just shut up.
Yeah. Yes.
Just shut up.
Yeah. I'll give you a micro example of that, not to get off on too much of a tangent and bring up a topic we brought up last pregame. But, I think there might be, this is just a micro example, and it's a recent example, is that if you are of the LGBTQ community in this town, and whether you are out openly about that or living in a closet afraid of what society, your employers, your fellow man will do to you.
Whatever it is, everybody's different.
Okay, and you go by, you get on the Facebook, you get on the Twitter, and you read the comments from news stories of all of our news outlets, and then you see the comments, and you see hateful comment after hateful comment after, ignorant, hateful comment. You think, wow, what an unwelcoming, not exclusive, not inclusive place this is. Gee, I don't really like living here. I think I'll stay in the closet or move somewhere else. And then you might go, if you actually get out and go to the Pride Parade and see 10 to 15,000 people there, most of whom are not gay or trans or ... They're there to support you. You go, okay, this is really my city. Yeah. I'm just bringing up a micro example of how sometimes social media skews reality.
That's exactly right.
Back to our regularly scheduled program.
And, the idea, one of the things that I saw a lot about Jamie, there's nasty stuff about Christine too, so I don't mean this because there's plenty.
Yeah.
But this thing about, he's friends with Walls. He talked to Omar. That was Dusty more, but memes of him shaking hands with Vladimir Lenin. That's just dumb.
Yeah.
It's just dumb. You don't.
Yeah. Did Hitler give him a fist bump? I don't know if I saw the.
And then just the comments. Well, it's going to make it just like Minneapolis. Well, shut up. Yeah. Just shut up. I'm tired of that, and I really don't read comments much. Because every time I do, it's just like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I try not to as well. It's like you're trying to make yourself angry. Well, it's like a mosquito bite. You're not supposed to itch it.
By the way, I got scabs on my legs from the no-see-ums.
Very applicable.
But can we talk about insects for a minute?
Yes.
I couldn't think of the proper scientific term. Not entomology, hepatology. I don't know. Bugs.
Anthropology?
Right? We didn't used to have no-see-ums in this part of the country. And if you don't know what a no-see-um is, they're those tiny little gnat-like creatures that crawl all over your legs and suck blood out of your... And then they're the worst. They're the worst of the worst. We didn't used to have them. We have them now.
Are you trying? Are you just still speaking in the vein of the elections? And are you talking about PACs who fund those commercials where we see Dusty Johnson and Omar together?
And the thing about that is, I don't care.
Yeah.
I wish there was more disclosure. I don't think there should be spending limits. I think you should be able to give as much money as you want to anybody you want. But you.
Yeah.
You, John Gaskins. You, Cordell Wright. It just should be disclosed. And when you get... Now, you can figure out who some of this comes from sometimes, but sometimes you can't. You shouldn't have to work that hard. Then I don't care where it comes from, and I don't care what kind of ads you put up. That's your business. Money is speech. The Supreme Court decided that, but that doesn't mean it can't be regulated differently. And one of the things that I would like to see is no limits, full disclosure, only individuals.
I guess we can get back to some nuts and bolts. No, I love it.
Yeah.
I do want to steer it back to why, because I think a lot of people like me, okay, crazy, wow, 2 votes. Obviously, a recount is required. But when will we know who the mayor is? And you told me it could be 3 weeks.
Could be.
Why does it take?
Well,
is that how long it takes to
we gotta
recount it, or?
We have to wait till Tuesday for the city council to canvass the election, certify it. Then there's the recount petition. That would have to be, Christine's not going to ask for a recount.
So a recount has not started yet?
No, it can't.
Okay.
So
some people don't notice.
Then they need to appoint a 3-person board that is one person selected by each candidate, and then a 3rd person that is agreed upon by the 2 candidates. And those 3 people are the recount board.
Okay.
And then they start doing their work. And it's a long process. It took 2 weeks. Joe Sneevy wrote about this at Dakota Scout because he covered the last citywide recount, which was when Alex Jensen defeated Teresa Staley for council seat. And that was around 100 votes. And it moved a little. I can't remember the exact amount. But it takes a couple of weeks to do it.
Yeah.
And there weren't as many votes in that race as there are in this one. So.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like how much of a sway? I mean, if it's only separated by 2 votes, then there could be a big sway, I guess. There could be a sway of 10 or 20 votes that tilt the scales one way or the other.
Don't you remember Florida 2000? The hanging chads and all that?
I'm still worn out by that, so don't remind me.
But, people make mistakes on ballots that don't get noticed the first time or whatever. It'll be there's this whole thing about mailed absentee ballots that didn't get in on time, and there was problems in at least one of the polling stations where they ran out of ballots. I mean, there are some irregularities here, not mischievous or malicious, just some stuff that happened that when it's 2 votes, you're like, God, really? How many people got turned away from or got sent to a different polling place and then didn't go? You know? Or got there, something was wrong, they just turned around and went home because it's the path of least resistance. When I tried, they didn't have a ballot. Okay, that's fair.
Yes, it is.
So that'll come out. That seems like a mistake that shouldn't happen.
Well, I'll try to completely cover bases. I'm asking a question that probably doesn't need to be asked. But there's not going to be another runoff. I mean, they're just going to count these, and whatever the count is, and it might very well come down to within 10 votes again.
Could be a tie.
Oh, my God. And then what?
I was going to go look at the charter today see if it's in there. I don't, in some places it comes down to a coin flip.
Yeah.
That happens. I don't know if the city council gets to vote on it. I don't know. I know it's in the charter. I'm pretty sure it's in the charter. I just don't know the answer to the question yet.
Okay, that's fine. So I guess the whole thing is stay tuned, and now Patrick gets to write
the drawing, the drawing of lots.
Patrick is on his second beer as well. You remind me of the Saturday Night Live skit with Mike Myers, the Simon, the kid in the bathtub.
My name is Simon.
Yeah, I like to do big drawings.
Yeah. So there you have it. It could come down to simple luck.
Wow. And that's who's going to be mayor, and that's, a card or a name in the hat.
I'd pick cards.
It's wild. Well, that gives you some, I don't know. Are you excited to write more about this in the coming weeks? It's interesting.
I want it to be done. That's just because the uncertainty isn't good for anybody. But it's going to be a different council. I mean, it's going to be a different city government. I mean, it's very interesting who's coming on. We don't know that much about where their head's going to be on some of the stuff
Let's-
that's important to the city.
Let's hold on that in an admittedly glossy way. But, yeah, what you make of these results of a Coué and James Oppenheimer beats Vince Daw, which was another.
We should bring this up.
Yeah.
This is
And
another
Pankinen.
foreign-born. We have 2 foreign-born city councilors now.
Yeah.
Because he's from England.
Yes, he's from England. And he beat out a guy who was, correct me if I'm wrong, at least descendants of.
Yes. He was. I think Vince was born in the United States, but parents came here in 1993
From
Vietnam.
Vietnam. And he lost about 60% to 40%.
Yeah.
But either way, you were going to have, that.
Great candidate. Vince is a guy who's not going away.
Yes. Yeah.
And and I'm happy for that. I want him to stay engaged.
But what do you make? You mentioned Pankinen, just an amazing story because of the way she won from out of nowhere by just going door to door all the time. But what are these 3 victories, these 3 new seat holders to be? Tell you about the what could be the direction of votes in the city, and
I just think it's going to be different. I don't know where we're going to go, but when you think about who's going off, David Bronco, Kurt Sale, and Vernon Brown is vacating the seat that he's holding for Sarah Cole.
okay,
That, and then you put in these 3 people,
yeah,
Zach, James, and Sarah. Well, they've got completely different viewpoints on things than David Bronco, Kurt Sale, and Sarah Cole.
yeah.
That doesn't mean that it's good, bad, or indifferent. It's just that's different people. So now you've got, and the other, there's a group of them that only been on there 2 years, which is Jennifer Siggety, Miranda Basie, and Spellerberg. They're not. And McCorris has been around now. He's going to be serving his second term. Other than that, he's the only one that's going to be in a second term in these next 2 years.
Wow.
So that's a pretty big turnover, plus a new mayor. It's just not going to be the same dynamic.
Okay. By the way, I just reading the stories from the Dakota Scout, which were printed on Sioux Falls Live.
Yes, thank you to our partners at Dakota Scout.
Covering the 2 places to be, and this goes for any election, but to be at the watch party, watching results come in, and it's like a sporting event. It's for media coverage as well. Cordell knows this well.
Yeah.
I've always, it's the Super Bowl
Yeah.
for TV stations, but also for print outlets.
Every time there's an update in the results, you hear the cheer go up or
the emotions
Yeah.
of the number watching.
It's just like watching a football game.
And the way it was described at the Smith party last night, where I think he had a big lead and then it narrowed.
Yeah, the first
He was jubilant, and then it was more nervous, and by the end of the night, it was the kind of not defeat. We know it was close enough that it's not defeat, but a little dejected. Anyway,
yeah, I mean, but everybody had to know that was going to narrow.
of course,
Like the first dump, it was absentee votes, and he was up by 12 points. Well, come on.
all right.
Yeah, and towards the end, with every 10 minutes, it was flopping back and forth.
Yeah.
He was ahead, then she was ahead, then he was ahead, and then finally, two votes.
Fill in the blank. The biggest difference between a Christine Erickson-led Sioux Falls and a Jamie Smith-led Sioux Falls, because we know the difference in voting is minuscule, but what will be the difference in the leadership? Would you see?
I think Christine is much more hands-on. Not that she's not going to surround herself with a good team and all that. That's a necessity. That's a given. I think that it's more hands-on management. Jamie is going to be, as by his own admission, more of a rah-rah guy. So it's going to be very important for him, if he does win, to hire somebody who is much more conversant with the daily operations of City Hall.
Okay.
Because that can quickly spin out of control.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. He would know. He has seen it all in 30-plus years. Well, we put in a good half hour there. I think.
That's all right. I think we did all right.
Hopefully, we didn't leave anything on the cutting room floor.
You
but
can go watch my interview with.
Yes. SiouxFallsLive.com. If it matters to you and you're listening to this, go to SiouxFallsLive.com, and there are just articles galore, some which involve videos like Patrick's sit down with Jamie Smith.
I do have also in that same story.
Yeah.
I have the film from Christine's little presser after her speech last night. So
cool,
which was interesting.
They always are. Okay, they were asking. I thought they were yelling at us back there.
No.
Somebody's asking about what happened to the top hat. I don't know. That's going to require another show. Folks.
I don't know what happened to the top hat. I never know what happened to the top hat.
For Patrick Lally, thank you as always.
Thank
Video
you, John.
producer Cordell Wright. Again,
Thank you, Cordell.
SiouxFallsLive.com. Get a subscription. Know more about your city. It's headed in an interesting direction, but we still don't know where. And we'll probably do another show after the next.
Let's do it.
When we know who the mayor is.
Give you an update.
Which will be right around the time we're going to have the gubernatorial runoff election, right?
July 28th.
July 28th for the Doden Roden show.
I'm not worrying about that one. Neither of them will be here, I would bet.
Yeah.
Be the first time in history that there's no candidate.
But it
party in Sioux
will
Falls.
be a mosquito bite we're going to dare to itch.
Yeah.
Okay. Cheers. Wrap it up. I just did.
You need anything else, John?
No, I think I'm good, Greg. I think I'm going to tap out.
All right. Have a good night.